Today on The Long Game, Susana gives us a rare behind-the-scenes look at strolling the red carpet, asking some of our favorite celebrities about successful personal branding. She gets the chance to talk to Gene Simmons, Cassidy, Brandon Routh, and Lou Diamond Phillips. You don't have to be a movie star to put branding to work for you. Welcome to The Long Game.
I know we've talked about brand before on this show, but here's why I keep coming back to it. In sales, who you are and why people choose you is responsible for about 90% of your commissions. Not your product, not your price point, not your company's ad budget, it's you. So today we're going to talk about brand, your personal brand, which is kind of this dumb buzzword and a little bit confusing, honestly. I got invited to a conference by Safeco last year to talk about personal brand, and I've kind of been pondering it ever since, and I think it's popular. I blame the Kardashians because, why not? Easy enough. Now, you may work for a company that already has a brand, a big one. Say, Liberty Mutual, only pay for what you need. Progressive, name your price. Walmart, save money, live better. Travelers, it's better under the umbrella. These are powerful brands and they're recognizable and they're trusted. And if you work for them, absolutely lean into it and use it. And it opens doors. But here's what I want to ask you. What happens after the door opens? Because once you're in the room, once a prospect is sitting across from you, they're not choosing Liberty Mutual over Progressive. They're choosing you over the other agent down the street who sells the exact same policy for pretty much the exact same price from the exact same company. Now that decision, that moment, is entirely about your personal brand. Here's the simplest definition that I've come up with. Your personal brand is how people describe you professionally when you leave the room. It's the feeling you leave them with. That's it. Not your logo, not your tagline, or your 3 descriptive words. It's the feeling. And you can spend hours dissecting this using Donald Miller's Story Brand and Simon Sinek's Find Your Why and countless others. But I have an easy way to think about it, which I'll get to. And if you're an agency owner like me, you have a whole other layer to think about because it's not just your brand anymore, it's your team's. How do you empower the people working for you to find their own brand? Zach, for example, on my team is going to show up differently than Kristen. And they're going to do it differently than me. And that can make your agency stronger, not weaker. Whether you're an independent agent building from scratch, you're a captive agent working inside someone else's brand, or an agency owner trying to build a team of people who each have their own reason why, this episode is for you. And to talk about it, I'm going to take you somewhere you might not expect. This spring, I covered 2 film festivals as credentialed press for this podcast, the Dallas International Film Festival and the USA Film Festival, back to back, same week. A teleporter would have been nice because, of course, they were in different theaters across town. And I interviewed actors, producers, filmmakers, storytellers. It was fun. And making a film is probably one of the riskiest endeavors businesses I want to say human beings can undertake, but honestly, you could climb a mountain, and I think that's riskier. However, you could take the same money, walk into a casino, put it on the table, and have about the same odds of seeing it again. And filmmakers would argue with me on this, but I think across the board, it's a pretty fair assessment. The thrill of the casino and the thrill of telling a story that matters, those are not the same thing, not even close. And the people I met on those carpets knew the risk. They took it anyway because the story was worth it. Circling back, why do people choose you? While you mull that over, here are some different examples of personal brand. It's story time, guys. Stories always make it better, right? So on this episode, we're going to talk to Gene Simmons, Cassidy, Brandon Routh, and Lou Diamond Phillips, to varying success about their brand. And at the end, because if you need help finding your brand, your reason why people buy from you, and not that other agent down the street, then I have an exercise for you. Quick aside about red carpets, because if you've never been on one, it's kind of crazy pants. They're loud, louder than you think. The person you're interviewing you is 2 steps away and can barely hear you, and there are handlers behind them tapping their wrist while you're mid-sentence. And in Jamie Presley's shots that I get, which we're not going to go over on this episode, we will in future, her handler is literally behind her in the shot. I was like, please move. At some point, somebody knocked down my gear. They were like handhold. Anyway, people show up late all at once. It's kind of controlled chaos. So, the first interview I'm going to discuss. When you think about Kiss, the brand, what's the first thing that comes to mind? It's the makeup, isn't it? Right? That face paint, the platform boots, the smoke machines, the pyrotechnics, the tongue. I don't know how many hours I spent staring at that 8-track album cover of my parents. These guys who decided in 1973 that they were going to be characters, not just musicians, and committed to it so completely that 50 years later, you cannot think of the brand without seeing those faces. Here's what most people don't know about Kiss. The music was never the whole business. The brand was the business. Gene Simmons, the demon, the one with the tongue, who publicly says, I slept with 5,000 women. When Gene figured out early on that what they were selling was bigger than their songs, so they licensed the Kiss name to over 3,000 product categories. Lunchboxes, I totally had one. Comic books, credit cards, a Kiss casket, an actual coffin. They sold Kiss condoms. When the brand finally stopped touring, Gene and Paul Stanley sold the whole catalog, the name, the makeup designs, the trademarks, all of it, to a Swedish company for $400 million. From face paint and a commitment to never, ever break character. So, when Gene Simmons walked up to me on that red carpet, he was not in the makeup. He was in street clothes, promoting his new film, Deep Water. He is 75 years old, and he is still unmistakably, completely Gene Simmons. He called me pretty. He danced a little jig into the camera lens to promote the movie. He was flirtatious and playful and completely in control of every single thing he was putting into the world. And I really wanted to talk to him about brand, about what it means to protect something for 50 years, about the business philosophy behind one of the most recognized names in entertainment history. And I knew going in that if I did not have good questions, he might not answer them. So, check it out.
You want to be involved and you want to get close to greatness. And to be close to one of the great directors in Hollywood history, that's a great thing. So you can point back, what did I do that day? Nothing. What I did that day? I was right there in the background trying to help this movie get on the screens. Look, life is short. You're never going to have this day ever again. You're going to be alive one less day. So what are you going to do today? And you've got to see Deep Water, and I strongly urge you not to go alone. You've got to go with somebody else. You ever go on one of those thrill rides, the roller coasters, alone? No, you don't want to do that. No, you want to hold on to somebody. And this is what the movie is about. It's a thrill. It's a chills, wilt, but you're going to cry. You're going to laugh. Great actors. Sir Ben Kingsley, Academy Award-winning actor. Aaron Eckhart, great actor. We've actually got an international cast. This thing's got all the bells and whistles. I'm so proud of it, I want to ask his autograph.
You hear that? I asked him about risk. He gave me a philosophy of life and then turned it straight back into a reason to go see his movie. I never got a quote from Gene Simmons because Gene Simmons doesn't talk about his brand. He is his brand. Every answer, every deflection, every jig into the camera lens. And that's not an accident. That's 50 years disguised as personality. And Gene Simmons wants to make sure you are still talking about Gene Simmons when he leaves the room. For you, in your business, what would it look like if you showed up to every client interaction the way that Gene Simmons showed up on that carpet? Show up in face paint. No, you don't want to show up in face paint. But with the same clarity, the same consistency, the same absolute certainty about who you are and what you're there to do. And maybe you're not Kiss. And let's be honest, there is no one is Kiss but Kiss. But do you know what your version of the makeup is? Before I tell you about Katie Cassidy, I want to play the clip.
I just try to be as true to myself as I can and continue on my journey. And that's my brand, whether you like it or not.
Okay. Now I need to tell you about her father. David Cassidy, teen idol, the Partridge Family. And honestly, there's no single equivalent today. The way that teen idols worked in the 70s, it doesn't really work the same way anymore. David Cassidy had a fan club that was probably bigger than the Beatles and Elvis combined. It was a weekly TV show beaming his face into every home in America and teen magazines as the only media. That level of monocultural dominance just isn't possible now. That was a fun word, wasn't it? Anyway, David Cassidy, as a dad, was almost completely absent from her life. She didn't meet him until she was in the 4th grade. He didn't raise her. He admitted publicly himself, "I've never had a relationship with her. I wasn't her father. I was her biological father, but I didn't raise her." He cut her out of his will, specifically by name. The document read, "It is my specific intent not to provide any benefits hereunder to Catherine Evelyn Cassidy." And she showed up for him anyway when he was dying. When he passed, she said his last words were, "So much wasted time." Now, this woman, she built her career anyway. She started a production company. She produced her own film. And she stood on a red carpet in Dallas, Texas, there with my friend, John Keyes, who directed the film she was promoting. And they moved down the carpet to me to be interviewed. Now I want to show you the clip again. Does anything change for you when you know her story?
It's more about honestly, being true to yourself and authenticity for me. And for me, I've been in the industry for a long time. I come from a family that's been in the industry, and I want to continue to grow and evolve, and not just in front of the camera, but behind the camera. And this is the first feature I produced, and you learn as you go. And I think that's what's most important to me. I don't necessarily look at it from the outside looking in. I just try to be as true to myself as I can and continue on my journey. And that's my brand, whether you like it or not.
I didn't know a lot of this before I interviewed her, but I still caught a glimpse of vulnerability, like maybe someone to protect. But if you had to describe her brand, what would you say? Think about that. And now we're going to talk about Brandon Routh.
I'm Brandon Routh.
And I'm going to be honest, my research failed me. I did not know who this man was. Remember what I said about the red carpet being loud, the handlers tapping wrists, 90 seconds? He was very tall and very handsome. He walked up with this energy. I thought he was warm and genuine and completely present. And I just kind of did what I'd been doing all night. I reverted to all of my networking training and I was like, "Hi, tell me who you are."
I'm Brandon Routh, and I'm in a film called Out of Order, which just screened.
How
Comedy.
how did it go?
Great. People laughed.
Yeah, you have like an energetic buzz about you. I'll be honest.
Thank you. As an actor, I'll take a compliment.
I found out after. Now, that was Brandon Routh, Superman. Superman. In 2006, Bryan Singer of X-Men, Bohemian Rhapsody, plucked him out of small roles, not quite virtual obscurity, to play one of the most iconic characters in the history of American pop culture. Superman Returns made $400 million worldwide, and critics praised his performance, and then nothing. No sequel. Warner Brothers rebooted. Instead, he was left waiting for years, not knowing it was over. And he's talked about that aftermath as genuine trauma. And he said, "Thank goodness I didn't turn to drugs or alcohol." Hollywood had given him the biggest brand in the world, and then they took it back. And he spent years rebuilding indie films, the Arrowverse, smaller rooms, a longer game. And then he showed up on that carpet in Dallas, genuinely thrilled about a comedy with Brooke Shields that nobody had even heard of yet. Now, obviously, Brandon Routh was not Superman, but Hollywood had defined his brand and then taken away, and he survived it. He rebuilt on his own terms, one project at a time, until the brand that he was building was actually his. So if you think about, is there a brand that someone has put on you? Maybe it's the company you work for. Maybe it's the product you sell. The title on your business card. Those things are real. They open doors, but maybe they're not you. What happens if that brand disappears? Now, what's left had better be something worth showing up with. And he had it. He was warm. He was very present. The genuine excitement about the next thing. I mean, what did you think about him? Because for me, if he tried to sell me something, I would buy it. 100%. Okay, lastly, I saved him for last on purpose. I actually interviewed him on the first night. That's what you call movie magic, where you move things out of order to what you want, right? So, Lou Diamond Phillips, and I'm going to go ahead and run part of the clip now. And I just want you to see what your impression is of him before you hear the whole story.
I'm all right.
Hey,
How are you?
last but not least.
Well, I'd love to be last but not least. Well, there's just lovely people.
Hello.
You're so close.
The lastest at the leastest.
Yes.
All right, so what do you think? Maybe you don't know Lou Diamond Phillips. So, Lou Diamond Phillips was in La Bamba, Stand and Deliver, Young Guns, Longmire, Stranger Things, a Diff Star Award. And he's standing on the carpet in his home state of Texas the night I talked to him. Now, here's what a lot of people don't know about Lou Diamond Phillips. And before he became Lou Diamond Phillips, he was born on a U.S. naval base in the Philippines. His father, a Marine, died when he was 1 year old, and he was raised in Corpus Christi, Texas. He chose the University of Texas at Arlington for his BFA in drama, and he spent years doing theater at Stage West in Fort Worth while nobody was looking. Then, 1987, a local Dallas casting director named Rhodey Kent called. There was a screen test for a film called La Bamba. No guarantee, just a shot. And he had a TV movie in hand. He had guaranteed rent money, and he gave it up, and he took the shot. The rest of the story: La Bamba, Stand and Deliver, Young Guns, Broadway, Courage Under Fire. 40 years of never not working is the story of a man who bet on himself before he had any reason to be sure. And this is the long game made visible, right? Now, I want you to notice something as you listen to these clips. Notice how he answers. Notice how comfortable he is in his own story. Notice how he brings it back every single time to what he's working on right now. This is not an accident. This is his brand in action.
You have had this amazing career, and brand is a buzzword now, but you've been protecting your brand for a long time. What do you think about that? What does that mean to you?
Wow. I love that you're characterizing it like that because, it's true. Here's the thing. Back in the day, and I'm a military kid, right? And I'm from Texas, and we can be a bit braggadocial, you know. But back in the day, you didn't pat yourself on the back. You didn't toot your own horn, right? Now, it's like you got to self-promote. You got to get it out there. Like you say, you've got to stake your brand territory and go, this is who I am and this is what I do. And fortunately for me, my brand has been evolving over the years. I was the new, ambiguously brown kid, who got to tell some cultural stories and do a lot of different kinds of roles. And now I become this veteran OG, but continuing to expand the horizons of what people think about me, looking at some of the stuff that I have going on literally right now. Stranger Things, Tales from 85 dropped today. I'm a voice in that. We'll be starting the second season of The Share Company. Ridiculous, over-the-top, bonkers comedy with Tim Robinson on HBO Max. And we're premiering a really heavy-duty drama, Keep Quiet, here at the Dallas Film Festival, And what's funny is that American Pachuco, The Legend of Luis Valdez, is also showing, and it shows the process of how I got cast out of Dallas, Texas, almost 40 years ago.
Did you catch that? His brand evolving, ambiguously brown kid to veteran OG. And then, before I could even ask a follow-up, he pivoted straight to 3 projects in one breath: Stranger Things, an HBO comedy, a drama premiering that very night. And this is someone who knows exactly what he's selling and never stops selling it. All right, so now I'm going to ask him about risk, and he weaves in his origin story.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When you think back of all the things that you've done and the choices that you've made over the career, is there anything that stands out as like a risk that was, oh my God, I can't believe that worked out, or one that didn't work out?
La Bamba was certainly a choice. I actually had landed a TV movie, and Rhodey Kent, who is the local Dallas casting director, I adore her. She goes, all right, you just landed this TV movie, which would have paid my rent for a couple of months, or you can roll the dice and they'll, take you to LA to screen test for La Bamba, but there's no guarantee you're going to get it. So it's like, all right, let me give up the sure thing and take the shot. Obviously, it worked out really well. A number of years later, all of a sudden, my agent tells me I'm an offer only person, and I'm seeing movies go by that it's like, Why aren't I seeing that? Why aren't I getting meeting on that? Whatever. And I realized, you got to go back to basics, man. You can't rest on your laurels. And I said, fine, stop this offer only stuff. I'll go in and I'll read if I have to. I'll take the meetings. If the role is worth it, I'll go fight for it. First opportunity I had was a movie called Courage Under Fire with Denzel Washington and Meg Ryan. I auditioned 4 times, did a chemistry read with Denzel, and that's one of the films I'm most proud of. I won the Lone Star Award for it. I won the Blockbuster Award for it. And so it was a reminder to me, don't get complacent. Keep working, keep hitting the bricks, keep going after those challenges. And fortunately for me, ever since then, I've never not worked, thank goodness, but it's kept me sharp and kept me looking for the good stuff.
And the thing about origin stories, everybody has one, but depending on how interesting it is, take that into account when you're telling it, but you got to have one. And the thing about origin stories, everybody has one, but depending on how interesting it is, take that into account when you're telling it, but you got to have one. Give up the sure thing and take the shot. Don't get complacent. Keep hitting the bricks. 40 years of career philosophy in 2 sentences. And then I asked him one more thing. What sustains a career that long? And his answer is the one I want to leave you with.
You obviously seem like you like the work.
I love the work, and that's what sustains you. It's the fame, money, whatever, accolades. Those are all tangential to doing a good job. You have to love what you do first. And if you do that, then you'll approach it with the right heart and soul. And, then you can stand here and talk to nice people like you.
You have to love what you do first. You have to love your product to sell it. I talked to somebody over the weekend who was selling a product he didn't think was the best on the market, and he was looking for a job. Gotta love it. Okay, so here's what you do. I have 2 exercises for you. I need you to ask 2 to 3 of your clients, why did you buy from me? What specifically about you made you choose me? Now, how you preface this or how you introduce this can influence the answer. You could say, I'm researching brand. I need a favor. 2, my boss is making me, right? 2 to 3 clients. Now, I need you to ask 2 to 3 strangers. I want you to walk up to them, apologize for interrupting them, but your boss is making you do this exercise, etc. And I want you to ask them, what was your first impression of me when I walked up to you? And I think you're going to be surprised at their response. And then you compare the response to the clients, and they're going to be similar in many ways. And now you have the building blocks of your brand. I want to hear what you ask them and what they say. So please drop me a line and tell me about it. Take a risk. It's a safe risk. It's kind of scary, kind of fun. Nobody's going to get hurt. That's your brand. I'm Susana Gibb. This is The Long Game. Thank you for being here. Please share this with an insurance agent, a salesperson, talking with other salespeople in my field, outside of my field. I love it. It helps me do my job better. Good luck to you. I hope your best sale is right around the corner.